75 years behind bars. A prison sentence that long is rarely handed down, and it's usually just for murderers or rapists. But a local man faces 75 years in prison for a non-violent crime. What he's accused of doing is something many people have done, but most don't realize it's actually illegal.
Let him go!
What you're witnessing is now against the law in some states. This is also becoming illegal, as well as this.
Don't tase me, bro!
These infamous scenes are being banned in more and more states.
Sit down!
The police in these recordings are not necessarily the ones breaking the law. It's the people recording the police. Recording audio of law enforcement without their consent is considered a crime in a dozen states, including Illinois.
It sounds like a plot in a movie. To call what I did a crime is ridiculous.
Michael Allison publicly recorded law enforcement in Robinson, Illinois. Now he's charged with 5 felonies with up to 15 years in prison for each count. That's a total of 75 years if convicted.
75 years in prison. And it's just so unbelievable.
Allison could spend the rest of his life behind bars. The 42-year-old is out on bail preparing to stand trial. The crime he's accused of? Eavesdropping.
This doesn't make any sense, and for one thing, the statute as it's written can be interpreted any which way.
Illinois is one of the states applying old eavesdropping and wiretapping statutes to new technologies like cell phones or anything else that records audio. Those laws technically make it illegal to record on-duty law enforcement officials without their consent. The penalty for that crime here in Illinois is the same as rape.
They're actually trying to say that I have committed a crime and it's a Class 1 felony.
As bad as rape.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
It is an extremely serious offense.
Chapin Rose worked as a prosecutor in nearby Coles County a few years ago. Rose saw the problems with Illinois' eavesdropping law as new recording technologies came along.
It dawned on me at the time that, this is, going to get crazy. But
now Michael Allison is heading to trial for recording on-duty law enforcement officials in public. Similar cases across the country have ended with the charges being reduced or dropped. Allison is being prosecuted by Crawford County State's Attorney Tom Wiseman. Wiseman refused to talk to us about this case or the eavesdropping law.
They're using it as written and as applied as a shield law to protect public officials from any kind of public scrutiny.
As a prosecutor, I like having that evidence.
Former prosecutor Chapin Rose says recordings can prove or disprove accusations of wrongdoing to protect citizens as well as police officers.
There's some that just don't like the idea of having to deal with it. I mean, they want, the first thing you're taught in police academy is to be in control of the situation.
Rose has since become a state representative and has tried to legalize audio recordings. He introduced a bill to try to overturn Illinois' eavesdropping law, but the bill died in committee.
The law is the law now, and I didn't have any real support to change it. I just thought for the general safety of the public, police officer safety, it'd be nice to have some bright line rules for the when-where of recording. Never got any support on it.
The law is affecting Michael Allison because he recorded police when they'd stop by his mother's house where he repaired old cars.
I wanted to document my own words and any evidence of any kind of threats, harassment, intimidation.
Officers said his unregistered cars violated a local ordinance. They eventually fined Allison and confiscated his cars. Allison went to the Robinson Police Department with his recorder in hand. He told Chief Bill Ackman, seen here in this file video, that his officers selectively and illegally enforced the ordinance. Allison eventually filed a lawsuit. Allison thinks that's why he was denied a court reporter during his ordinance hearing. So Allison told the judge he would record the hearing himself for documentation. Police later confiscated Allison's recorder. They also arrested him on 5 felony eavesdropping charges for everything he had recorded.
It's the first time in my entire life I'd ever been arrested or accused of a crime or anything.
Chief Ackman never returned our calls about arresting Allison on eavesdropping charges. While we were recording video inside the courthouse for this report, a sheriff's deputy came out of a courtroom and asked us why we were recording.
Does it matter?
My response you just heard in that off-camera conversation is the only audio we can play for you. Our lawyers advised us not to let you hear the deputy because we didn't have his consent to record him. It's the same law that got Michael Allison arrested. It's not just Allison. A similar situation happened to another Illinois man. This YouTube video shows Chicago police arresting Christopher Drew for selling art without a permit. Drew also had an audio recorder in his pocket, but never had the consent of police to record their comments. Now, Drew is heading to trial for eavesdropping and could go to prison for what you just saw. The Illinois eavesdropping statute actually protects police, whether it's dash cam videos or even sting operations. The state law allows police officers to record citizens without their consent.
If you turn on a recorder to record the exact same conversation that they are recording, you're considered a felon, and they're protected by the statute.
All these police officers who were recorded tasing, punching, or shoving unarmed citizens,
Sit down!
none of them served any prison time. The California police officer who shot this man in the back and killed him, he's serving 2 years in prison. But Michael Allison, who recorded law enforcement officials in public without their consent, he faces up to 75 years in prison.
By me going through it is going to help other people in Illinois and possibly other states across the country that are dealing with the same situation. By going as far as what it has, it may be the opportunity to defeat the statute. If they was to find me guilty on all 5 counts for 75 years, I think that the headlines for that would be very telling.
One headline for that verdict might read, "Go to prison if you record police without their consent." Michael Allison has a pre-trial hearing for the eavesdropping charges tomorrow morning. That's when his trial date is expected to be set. A week